Widespread fog rests across our area this morning as we come on the air for WFMY News 2 mornings at 7. It's a problem from Danville, Virginia, all the way here. Look at Winston-Salem in that snippet there. We'll try to get that camera back up, but it looks like quite the eerie scene.
Yeah, it looks like a bowl of soup. Welcome to it looks like a bowl of soup. I was saying welcome to WFMY News 2 mornings, streaming exclusively on WFMY Plus. It is now 7 a.m. I'm Lauren Coleman.
I'm Megan Malaris. Let's get you started with our forecast. And you expect this fog to burn off with sunrise. Of course, sunrise is later now because of daylight saving time.
Yeah, we're starting the process after sunrise, but it's going to take a while because it's really thick and it's widespread. So I'm hoping by around 9 or 10 o'clock this morning, most of the fog will be out of here. But a lot of zeros on our visibility map this morning indicating the dense fog across the area. So be extra careful as you head out and start your day, and just be aware that, again, that dense fog is widespread across the area. Cool look here, but not cool if you're driving in it. We're looking over Winston-Salem. Our weather camera is pretty high up on a big building there, and so we're looking down on the fog. Just kind of interesting there, but Winston-Salem is socked in. Visibility there at Smith Reynolds is right near zero. At least it's pretty mild this morning. 57 in Raleigh and the Triad. We're at 51 at Danville, 41 at Boone, 60 at Fayetteville, and over at Charlotte. So dense fog this morning. Once that dissipates, a partly sunny and warm day with mid-70s.
Let's take a look at Triad traffic. As Ed mentioned, this fog is going to continue being a concern. It was a problem when I drove to work at 3:45 this morning. I-40 at Silas Creek Parkway looks fine from this vantage point, but given that it's still dark outside, it's hard to see from this angle that the fog is a problem. We have several issues to report here traffic-wise now popping up. Let's start in High Point, where there was a wreck in Sunset Square on North Main Street, at Montlou Avenue, at Sunset Drive as you're heading into downtown. An earlier wreck in Archdale appears to have cleared on Glenola Road, so that's some good news. This is an alert here in the Lawsonville area. Traffic lights are not working on US 29 Business northbound at US 158. That's Highway 14. Not seeing major problems as a result of that. Greensboro looking clear, all things considered, which is a good sign. I-40, 220, I-840, the loop, all looking good right now. Drive times Winston to Greensboro a little bit slower going than normal. A 24-minute drive down 421, 23 minutes if you take I-40. Let's go Kernersville to Winston. You're looking at 10 minutes down 40 west to 311, or 7 minutes down 421. Beginning today, a stretch of Voss Avenue in Greensboro will close for several months. The city said this is the stretch between Summit Avenue and Cody Avenue, not far from downtown, shut down through July 17th for a storm culvert replacement project. Local access will still be allowed for people who live on Voss, but other drivers should expect delays around the work zone. Officials are asking motorists to plan ahead and use alternate routes when crews complete the project.
This week, the city also began several road paving projects, which could slow you down in different parts of Greensboro. Crews will be lowering utility structures on multiple streets across the city from today through Friday. Work will happen between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. It could mean lane closures or full road closures in some areas. Streets impacted include parts of Silverbrook Drive, Wood Hollow Road, Twain Road, East Cornwallis Drive, Palm Street, and North English Street. The city says these projects are part of Greensboro's 2026 road resurfacing plan.
A lot of work starts in the Gate City this week. Today is demo day officially on the Davie Street parking deck, so you will have some issues getting around the area near LeBauer Park. Starting today, North Davie Street between East Friendly Avenue and East Market Street will close while crews work to bring down the structure. The city closed this deck in November after 60 years in operation, when city leaders decided it ultimately had outlived its usefulness. Work is set to be in effect through June 6th.
Place is a brand new 7-story apartment complex with 171 units. DGI announced the plan at its annual State of the Downtown address last week. The complex is set to house a new restaurant and retail options on its bottom floor. This is just one of many projects local leaders are planning to bring downtown to expound on the attention of new industry Greensboro is bringing.
The interest in downtown is phenomenal. So what we've got to do is capitalize on that energy. The more we capitalize on that energy, the more we help small businesses and the more we help the projects that we have get across the finish line. And I will tell you, quite frankly, we've already started energizing Elm Street in certain ways.
Among other plans shared coming downtown include a new Marriott and Residence Hotel. Matheny also shared an investment group recently bought the old News and Record property, one of the biggest redevelopment opportunities in the area.
Well, today, a procedural part of the canvass after the state primary will happen. This in Rockingham County. We'll get a view of how these ballots are counted through what is called a hand-to-eye count. No recount or runoff requested so far in the Berger-Page race, but that could come soon. But this hand-to-eye recount is a process done statewide in North Carolina. In fact, 2 precincts in every county are going to be doing this. It's just a way of making sure that machines counted the ballots correctly. To do this under state law, a bipartisan team of counters will physically do a sample count by hand. Each counting team is made up of 4 people, 2 who read the ballots and confirm out loud, and 2 who keep a tally mark on a sheet of paper. The vote is conducted in public. So one of today's counts will be at the Rockingham County Board of Elections in Reedsville. We'll bring you the latest when it begins live on our air at 9 this morning. Let's get back to this Senate District 26 race. The razor-thin margin in this race for state Senate. But the margin is growing on Friday after provisional ballots were counted. Sam Page extended his lead over incumbent Phil Berger. In Guilford and Rockingham counties, Page now leads by 23 votes. That is up from just the 2-vote difference on election night. Here's what could happen. Military and overseas ballots must be received by Thursday, March 12th, and they'll be counted the following day. County elections boards will then certify results on Friday, March 13th. If the final margin is still less than 1%, the trailing candidate has until the 17th to request a recount. The recount must be finished before the North Carolina State Board of Elections meets to certify final results on March 25th. So a lot could still happen. This race is far from over. As a reminder, this primary, will determine whose name goes on the ballot in November. The winner of the Republican primary will face the lone Democrat in this race, Steve Luking, in that general election.
As we wait for the race to be decided, there are claims online of voter intimidation. Voters say they were sent texts asking for who they voted for. We reached out to the Rockingham County Board of Elections. They said they were aware of the allegations and they are still investigating. Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools continues to chip away at its budget deficit. We learned the district's debt is now down to $5 million. That's more than $40 million down from the original number. To make progress on paying off the debt, the district had widespread layoffs. We are working to plan out the plan to pay off the remaining $5 million.
You might remember we told you about the district's plans to form a new audit advisory committee. The purpose being to support the school board in addressing budget audits and add more transparency. District and county leaders are in the process of assembling the committee right now. It'll be made up of 7 community members with an extensive background in finances. To be part of this committee, the individuals could not be employed or have business dealings with Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools. There are 3 more slots to fill as of last check. The Forsyth County Board of Commissioners is still deciding who will fill the spots. The district's communications officer let us in on various skill sets already represented in the seats filled so far.
We have a former Winston-Salem city manager. We have a chief auditor for the UNC system. We have a gentleman who was a VP at Morgan Stanley and worked for Goldman Sachs. We also have a person who was a CPA for Deloitte and also served the Wake County School Board in a committee capacity. And so you have people who deeply understand the world of finance.
Yeah, that's good news. Some of the responsibilities will be to review the district's annual audit and its recommendations, help find external audit firms, and recommend corrective actions. Already this school year, as we've reported, several audits on the district got received. The goal is to utilize the audit committee to keep this process on track.
The district has already had multiple different kinds of audits in the last year. Two different sort of reviews done by the state, another separate one done by the State Board of Education, led by DPI, as well as our internal audit. And we already have a plan in place where we are tracking and accomplishing corrections to those findings. So this is all about making sure that our community is confident that we're on the right track.
Yeah, once formed, the district said the Audit Advisory Committee will meet 4 times a year. The district says it's looking forward to announcing the full team in April.
In other news, the district is joining thousands of others across the country that are suing social media companies like Snapchat and TikTok. School leaders say the platforms are deliberately addictive, harmful, and are causing a mental health crisis. The school districts want money to hire more counselors, implement safety measures, and address behavior issues. If the suit is successful, settlements could be in the billions.
Right now, we are awaiting a major sports announcement from a group of local partners about summer plans coming to light. The Greensboro Sports Foundation, Greensboro Area Convention and Visitors Bureau, and City of Greensboro, as well as UNCG, will host an event tomorrow, March 10th, to share details of an international sports development. This keeps us guessing. The announcement will take place at Fleming Gymnasium on UNC Greensboro campus.
North Carolina A&T will celebrate the 135th anniversary of its founding today, while also formally installing its newest chancellor. James R. Martin II was selected in 2024 as the university's 13th chancellor and will be officially installed during a ceremony at Corbett Sports Center at 10 a.m. Since taking office, Martin has focused on expanding partnerships with agencies and corporations, strengthening university operations, and advancing the school's push towards top-tier research university status. General parking will be available at the Obermeyer parking deck and War Memorial Stadium, with shuttle service beginning at 9 a.m.
Coming up, we've sprung forward an hour, which means longer days, but also less crime. The link between daylight saving and robberies when we come back.
While springing forward causes us to lose an hour, we gain more daylight at the same time, and that extra daylight could protect you from everyday crimes.
Yeah, let's verify the science behind this so-called guardian effect and what it means for safety.
Twice a year, we change our clocks, and most of us just think about losing or gaining an hour of sleep. But what if daylight saving time was actually keeping you safe? So, does daylight saving time actually lower the risk of robbery? Let's verify. Our sources include an economic study published in the Journal Review of Economics and Statistics and information from the Britannica Encyclopedia. Here's what we found. When the clocks spring forward, that extra hour of evening daylight falls during a time when more people are out and about, coming home from work, jogging, or watching their kids play outside. And that added visibility can make it harder for criminals to go unnoticed. According to the economic study, researchers found that robberies dropped by about 7% overall, with a decline even greater in the evening, falling by as much as 27% between 5 and 8 p.m. when daylight is extended. It turns out light matters more than you'd expect. Robbery rates tend to be higher after dark, but when daylight extends into the evening, there are more people visible on the street, more potential witnesses around, and fewer opportunities for criminals to strike without being seen. Criminologists call this the, quote, guardianship effect, the idea that when more people are present and watching, crime is less likely to happen. But daylight saving time doesn't eliminate crime altogether. Some researchers note that darker mornings after the spring change could create a small offsetting effect, and not all crimes see the same drop. Burglary and other offenses don't follow the same pattern. But when it comes to robbery, the data is fairly clear. More daylight in the evening means fewer opportunities for criminals to operate under the cover of darkness. So we can verify that yes, daylight saving time can lower the risk of robbery, and the science suggests that an extra hour of evening sunlight is doing more than just keeping your evenings bright, it's actually keeping you safer.
Interesting. This is an angle I hadn't really thought much of, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, if it gets darker later, you might see more people out and about. It also is kind of like similar to where we see an increase in crime in the summertime because it's warmer. Because folks don't really want to be out in the cold.
Yeah, I've done a verify on that summertime thing. That is true, at least with non-violent crimes. But this is interesting. I think there are so many split opinions about whether we even need this time change twice a year, whether we should stay on daylight saving or stay on standard time, which sleep experts will tell you is actually the better option. It's better for your circadian rhythm. Because if you think about it, we're naturally going to get lighter at night.
Yeah.
Even before this time change, we were already gaining a little more daylight in the evenings. The problem with staying on daylight saving year round is that eventually kids would be going to school in the dark. I mean, it would be dark at the bus stops for them, and it's just not safe.
Not safe, especially when it gets cold and it's snowing and stuff. We do need that sunlight to help melt some of that ice, get the buses running. On the flip, I think there are many benefits to daylight saving. People are outside longer, they're exercising, they're walking. Businesses see a boom because it's not feeling like 10 o'clock at night when it's 5 p.m. So there's so many pros and cons to this. I think this is going to be an ongoing debate for sure.
For people who deal with seasonal depression, I mean, daylight saving is such a game changer for mood. Well, it's 7:17. Let's take a look at our forecast now.
And with that extra hour of light, you can spend it outdoors because although it looks a little gloomy this morning with the dense fog, it's going to be a great day in the Piedmont. The sun's going to come out and boy, we're going to warm it up. Not only are we going to be warm, but really much of the eastern half of the country warm today. We're into the mid 70s, into the low 80s over the deep south. I think low 80s will arrive here in the Piedmont tomorrow, and we couldn't even rule out some mid 80s coming up on Wednesday. It's a cold front just by name because there's no cold air behind it, although it brought some scattered showers and thunderstorms to our area yesterday afternoon and last evening. It will dissipate as high pressure builds over the south, northern Florida more specifically, and that is an ideal location. Turn winds to the southwest and grab some warmer air building over the southern plains and the deep south and bring it our way. So mid and upper 70s today, low 80s tomorrow, maybe at 83 or 84 coming up on Wednesday, and then we'll cool a little bit as we go into Thursday. We've got another front that'll head our way. That'll bring some rain with lower 60s and only around 60 for an additional cool off on Friday. But the weekend, we warm right back up pretty close to 70 on Saturday and especially Sunday. It'll take a while for the fog to dissipate, but once it does, a partly sunny day. Temperatures up about 76. It'll be mainly clear overnight. We'll cool back into the pleasant low and mid 50s, around 52. And then tomorrow, a partly sunny day. Our current record is 78. I think it's in jeopardy. especially if we make it to 81, maybe a new record high coming up on Tuesday. Wednesday, clouds on the increase in 83. We'll bring in a rain chance for Thursday in 63. Sun and clouds and around 60 on Friday. Right now, fingers crossed, weekend looking good. 68 on Saturday and around 70 on Sunday.
This morning, the Guilford County Sheriff's Office is responding to the sudden and tragic death of a Forsyth County deputy who died this weekend. 24-year-old Caleb Mitchell was killed in a car crash Saturday morning. Investigators say it happened around 6 a.m. on Highway 311 in Walnut Cove. Officials have not released how the crash happened. The Guilford County Sheriff's Office responded to the news of Mitchell's death, saying in part, "We ask our community to please keep his family, the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office, and the entire law enforcement community in our prayers." Our team spoke with Mitchell's brother, who said the deputy died doing what he loved.
Always wanted to be a police officer since he was little. I have been like some of my first memories where I'm talking about that.
Right now, a growing memorial sits outside the Forsyth County Sheriff's Office in his honor. North Carolina is investing more money to help Western North Carolina recover from Hurricane Helene and prepare for future disasters. Governor Josh Stein announced a $40 million will go to disaster relief. So here's the breakdown. $24 million will go to flood mitigation, infrastructure upgrades, and emergency communication projects across the state. Another $16 million will go to volunteer organizations helping rebuild homes in Western North Carolina.
Low temperatures this morning, not very low at all. As a matter of fact, pretty mild. We should be into the upper 30s for our lows. Take a look at these numbers. We went down to 52 so far out at PTI this morning, and 57 over at Raleigh, 51 at Danville for the low, 60 in Charlotte, and 41 over at Boone. Of course, we're still dealing with the dense fog up until about mid-morning around 9 or 10 o'clock. Hopefully the fog will be gone. 57 right now out at PTI, on our way to the mid-70s.
All right, let's get a look at some of our drive times. Folks who are leaving Kernersville headed into Winston, it's looking really good. If you're hopping on I-40 West, it's going to take you about 11 minutes. Traffic just under 60 miles per hour. And then those on 421 leaving Kernersville into Winston, about an 8-minute commute. Traffic just over 65 miles per hour. We're smooth sailing, folks. Stick with us. We'll get a look at some of your headlines after this break. With a check of the day's top stories, the city is beginning several road paving projects today. Crews will be lowering utility structures on multiple streets across the city from today through Friday. Work will happen between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. and could mean lane closures or full road closures in some areas. There will be several streets impacted. You can find a list of those up on our website, WFMYnews2.com. Plus, beginning today, a stretch of Voss Avenue in Greensboro is closed for several months. The city says Voss Avenue between Summit Avenue and Cody Avenue will be shut down through July 17th. A storm culvert replacement project. Local access will still be allowed for people who live on Voss Avenue. Plus, the Davie Street parking deck is set to be demolished. Incorporated says it plans to build a 7-story apartment complex in its place. Retail and restaurant space will be constructed on its ground floor. It's all a part of the city's Road to 10,000 development plan. Here's meteorologist Ed Matthews with a check of the forecast. We're dealing with some thick fog this morning.
Yeah, it's widespread and rather dense, and it'll be with us until around 9 or 10 o'clock this morning. Thereafter, it's going to be a great day in the Piedmont. Partly sunny and warming into the mid-70s, partly cloudy 52 tonight, low 80s tomorrow, maybe a new record high in 83 on Wednesday. We'll bring in a rain chance, cool it back to the lower 60s on Thursday. Friday, a little on the cool side, around 60, but we warm right back to around 70 on Saturday and especially Sunday. Right now, the weekend's looking real good.
Hello, hello, and welcome back to WFMY News 2 Mornings. It is now 7:30 on this Monday morning. I'm Lauren Coleman. We're streaming exclusively on WFMY Plus. Lots to get into, but first, let's get a check of the forecast with meteorologist Ed Matthews. The sky looks like a big bowl of soup this morning. That fog is thick.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we're seeing a little bit more of Burlington there, so that does indicate that things are gradually improving now that the sun is up. It's going to take a while for this dense fog to move out. I don't expect it to be out of here until maybe around 9 or 10 o'clock, hopefully by then for sure. But take a look at these low visibilities. We've been talking about widespread visibilities near zero, stretching from Danville down through the Triad, down into the southern Piedmont, and out towards Statesville and Hickory. Many of these communities, the airport location indicating visibility near zero in dense fog. Another perspective here is downtown Greensboro, just faintly seeing some of the buildings, but it is still pretty thick. At least it's pretty warm out there, relatively speaking. Our normal lows are in the upper 30s. We're at 57 right now out at PTI, 51 at Danville, 60 at Fayetteville and Charlotte, 42 the current temperature at Boone, and 57 the temperature over at Raleigh-Durham. So once the fog dissipates, it's going to be a great day. Partly sunny and warm with mid-70s, clear and low 50s tonight. Gets even warmer over the next couple of days. We'll check that out in just a minute.
All right, we're getting a better look at our roadways now that the sun is up. And you can definitely see that fog as we check back in on I-40 at Silas Creek Parkway. Looks like it's slightly improving, but you definitely want to make sure that you're driving with extra caution. It's going to stick around for the next couple hours or so and use those low beam lights. Here's a look across the Triad this morning. No major delays, but we're starting to see more accidents populate on our map here. It looks like we have one that just hit the map over on I-40 near Durham. This is in the eastern part of our viewing area. I'll break that down for us in a bit, but it doesn't appear to be causing any major delays. We are keeping our eyes on this crash over on Sunset Square, North Main Street at Montaloo Avenue. No major delays to report. We also have an update on this accident in Trinity, Archdale Road at Old Granola Road. That looks like it is now clear. Traffic moving smoothly in the area. And lights are out at this traffic light out in Reedsville. This is US 29 business northbound at US 158. Remember, treat this as a four-way stop. That is a look at your Triad traffic. 7:32 now. The U.S.-Israeli conflict with Iran continues to escalate as it enters its second week. Iran has officially named the son of the late Ayatollah Ali Khamenei as the country's new supreme leader, while another American soldier has been killed in the operation. Jared Hill has the latest from New York.
Supporters of Iran's newly minted supreme leader celebrated on the streets of Tehran as a cloud of black smoke blanketed the capital city 10 days into the conflict with the U.S. and Israel. Iran's Assembly of Experts chose Mojtaba Khamenei to succeed his father, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, killed last month in the first wave of strikes. President Trump saying he is not happy with the choice, according to Fox News. Speaking to CBS News, advisor to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Michael Eisenberg, delivered a grim message.
The highest risk job right now is to be the new Ayatollah. That's a high-risk job. To be the head of the Iranian military, the IRGC, those are high-risk jobs. Don't take them.
They're going to be targeted.
Don't take those jobs. We're watching you.
8 days into the war, Israel launched new attacks on Tehran's critical oil infrastructure. Iran warning residents to take precautions against toxic smoke and acid rain. Iran retaliated, launching missiles at Israel and other U.S. allies in the region, including Bahrain. Iranian drones also targeted Dubai's airport this weekend and Kuwait's Social Security building.
We're not looking to settle. They'd like to settle. We're not looking to settle.
As President Trump says there's no end in sight without Iran's unconditional surrender, U.S. Central Command confirmed a 7th U.S. service member died from injuries sustained in an Iranian attack on troops stationed in Saudi Arabia. Sources tell CBS News the U.S. also may have been responsible for the bombing of a girls' school in Iran that killed more than 160 people, many of them children. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Oil prices passed $100 a barrel on Sunday due to the war. On social media, President Trump brushed off the surge, saying prices will drop rapidly when the destruction of the Iran nuclear threat is over. The war has driven the price of crude oil above $100 a barrel for the first time since 2022. The news sent Asian markets tumbling in early trading Monday. Gas Buddy reports the average price for a gallon of regular gas jumped 49 cents here in Greensboro just last week. Here at home, we are feeling the impact. The current average sits at $3.29. That is according to Gas Buddy's survey of over 500 Greensboro gas stations. Winston-Salem is averaging $3.31 per gallon, and Durham is seeing prices around $3.35 per gallon. The state average sits at $3.26 per gallon. The national average price of gasoline has risen 51 cents per gallon in the last week, averaging $3.45 per gallon right now. A frustrating weekend for many travelers as partial government shutdowns cause long security lines at a number of airports, including Houston's airport and New Orleans' Louis Armstrong Airport. A limited TSA staff coupled with spring break travel combined to create the long lines, which for some travelers extended for hours. The Department of Homeland Security, which oversees TSA operations at U.S. airports, has gone without funding since February 14th. A National Transportation Safety Board member says he was abruptly fired last week. J. Todd Inman was a prominent figure during the investigation of last year's deadly midair collision near Washington, D.C. That crash involved a regional American airline jet and a Black Hawk helicopter. 67 people died. Inman says he was told last Friday that he was fired effective immediately. He says he has not received any reason for his dismissal. It is highly unusual for NTSB members to be removed. They serve fixed terms. Inman joined the investigative board in 2024 after then President Joe Biden nominated him. The FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force has launched an investigation into a device thrown near the residence of New York City's mayor over the weekend amidst protests. The homemade device was determined by FBI officials to be an improvised explosion device that could have caused serious injury or death. 2 people from Pennsylvania were arrested on Saturday in connection to this incident. Plus, a woman was arrested Sunday in California for shooting at Rihanna's Beverly Hills home. It happened in broad daylight around 1:15 yesterday afternoon. Police say the woman in her 30s parked her car outside the singer's home and fired 7 shots before speeding away. Police found her shortly after at a nearby shopping center and took her into custody without further incident. Right now, it is unclear if anyone was home. Here in North Carolina this morning, 2 people are recovering after a plane crash in Indian Trail. Union County deputies say the pilot had to be cut out of the plane by first responders. WFMY News 2's Anna King has more.
For Doug and Kathleen Rowell, Sunday was supposed to be a quiet day at home.
Wasn't on our bingo card today.
It was quite interesting.
Instead, it turned into something they never could have imagined.
And we got a call from the young lady that lives in this house and said that a plane was in our pasture.
That plane, a small aircraft that had just taken off from Goose Creek Airport, crashing into their pasture across the street.
All we heard was a boom when it hit.
Authorities say 2 people were on board. One person was ejected from the aircraft and airlifted to the hospital. The pilot was trapped inside the wreckage until first responders cut them free and rushed them to the hospital by ambulance. The Rowells say when they saw the plane, the damage was hard to believe.
We were just shocked.
Took off a wing and one wing still intact.
The FAA is now investigating what caused the plane to go down. And while the scene left them stunned, the Rowells say they're grateful the crash wasn't worse.
No, we were just happy that everybody was safe, that all the cows were safe, and that they were able to get them to the hospital alive, and hopefully they're faring well.
This morning, $200 million is headed to our state for disaster preparation after a judge ordered FEMA to hand it over. Attorney General Jeff Jackson filed the motion last month after FEMA canceled the program. The new ruling means FEMA must open new applications for projects in the next few weeks. The agency also has to provide a timeline for when existing projects will be funded. Plus, a bipartisan effort to overhaul how the federal government is delivering disaster relief. Republican Senator Ted Budd from North Carolina and Democratic Senator Raphael Warnock introduced the Disaster Recovery Improvement Act. It would create a task force to look into problems in disaster aid programs and recommend changes. In a statement, Budd said his work with the Department of Homeland Security helped him uncover additional gaps in the country's federal disaster response. He says this includes programs run by other agencies.
After breaking up with spring break, Miami Beach is loosening up its restrictions. I'm Cristian Benavides with what it means for visitors.
A popular item of baby clothing is being recalled. The Consumer Product Safety Commission says the zipper head on some Halo Magic sleep suits can detach, posing a risk to babies. The sleep suits were sold online at major retailers, including Amazon, Walmart, and Target. Parents are urged to stop using them immediately.
Millions of Americans planning spring break trips will head to Florida. As Christian Benavides reports, destinations there are looking to welcome those who are looking to party responsibly, of course.
At Mango's Tropical Cafe on South Beach, owner David Wallach says he's hoping for change this spring break.
What are we going to do to reverse the depression?
We're breaking up with you.
In 2024, Miami Beach successfully called it quits with spring break after seasons of violent and unruly crowds.
While that's a wonderful thing, who do you then attract with a different demographic to now fill in? Remember, March is a month where everyone pays half of their year's expenses.
So now the city's working to balance law and order with cautiously pulling back certain rules. Loosening up the restrictions doesn't mean a return to the past. Miami Beach is looking to shift the focus to health and wellness in hopes of attracting a different crowd.
Green juice?
The city is planning marathons, high-intensity workouts, even yoga. As Miami Beach opens up, Panama City Beach on the Florida Panhandle is cracking down.
Play stupid games, you're going to win stupid prizes.
That city has told unruly spring breakers they're not welcome after online flyers called for a beach takeover. Across Florida, authorities are on high alert. The trade group Airlines for America forecasts 171 million passengers over the spring break travel period.
So people are still spending money on travel, but they're really going to be focused on value.
Sherry Young is a hospitality and travel expert.
The hotels, the resorts, they've really had to try to control their increases in price.
And Miami Beach may have some deals to be found as business owners look to welcome tourists back responsibly. Christian Benavides, CBS News, Miami Beach.
I haven't been there in years, but Miami Beach is a great place. Probably the weather is a little better there, at least in terms of sky conditions, than what we're dealing with this morning. As we take a look over Burlington, we are seeing some improvements, seeing a little bit more of the downtown area. The sun is up now, and if I could get the fog out of my throat, I'll be able to communicate with you. But things are improving as we're seeing more of the downtown area. Temperatures this morning are A-OK, 54 over at Burlington right now. Once the sun comes out, temperatures are going to warm into the mid and upper 70s across the area. It's really going to be a nice afternoon, although it'll take a little while for the fog to burn off. Cold front brought some showers and thunder yesterday afternoon and last evening. That front will dissipate along the Carolina coast. High pressure will build to the south and set up shop over northern Florida in an ideal location to grab some warm air out over the southern plains and the deep south and bring it our way. So mid and upper 70s today. We'll be into the low 80s tomorrow, maybe a brand new record high coming up on Tuesday. And then Wednesday will be up around 83 or 84, but our record for Wednesday is 86. I think it's safe in the book. On Wednesday, the clouds will start to move in out ahead of an approaching cold front that will bring some wet weather to the Piedmont on Thursday. Drop temperatures back into the lower 60s will dry out by Friday, and right now the weekend is looking good. We'll take care of the fog this morning, partly sunny this afternoon, and 76 for the high today. It'll be mainly clear overnight. We'll cool back into the pleasant low 50s, very similar to this morning. And then tomorrow, a partly sunny and quite warm day, forecasting 81, standing record 78. It may fall by the wayside. Triad 7-day forecast, low 80s coming up on Wednesday as clouds increase out ahead of our cold front that will bring some rain on Thursday with a high of 63. And then on Friday, temperatures will be around 60. But at the moment, the weekend's looking A-OK. Fingers crossed. It should be dry both on Saturday and Sunday. 68 the high on Saturday and around 70 for the high coming up on Sunday.
A shocking February labor report revealed a loss of jobs. Economists had expected moderate growth, but instead, U.S. employers shed 92,000 positions. The unemployment rate has risen 1/10 of a point to 4.4%. The Labor Department also revised January's jobs to 4,000, fewer than previously reported in December's down 65,000. As the February jobs report is released, there's some better news for job seekers heading into the spring. A ZipRecruiter career expert says historically it is the biggest month for hiring. Evan Moon spoke with a career expert about what drives the spring surge.
Employers cut 92,000 jobs in February, and the unemployment rate rose to 4.4%.
This is an ugly jobs report, and it's ugly really across the board.
Bankrate senior economist Mark Hamrick says losses were seen across nearly all sectors, including 40,000 healthcare jobs weighed down by a nurses' strike.
The economy is facing a rough patch here, and we've seen inconsistent jobs creation going back to last summer.
But if you're hunting for a new gig, there may be opportunity ahead. March is historically the strongest month for hiring.
Now is an amazing time if you're a job seeker to get your materials ready, because we are going to hopefully see an increase in postings.
ZipRecruiter career expert Sam DeMace says a few factors drive the spring spike.
We have the bonus exodus that happens in March, where a lot of folks get their bonuses, and then we see career movement. So there's a lot of opportunities for new hires at companies. Another reason being hiring managers want to get their teams locked down and solidified and spend their budgets before the summer slowdown hits.
To stand out, DeMace has tips. First, for your resume and title.
Be a specialist, not a generalist. It is a specialist market right now. Be very specific about your skill sets and relate them back to the job.
New AI systems look for exact keyword matches.
And if you are tired of getting ghosted, DeMace says managers are now looking for more than just messages of enthusiasm or even coffee dates.
That is the old way. The new way is to share your value proposition. Hey, this is what I do well. Here's a problem that I know I can solve at your organization, and I just applied. Can we connect?
For those switching industries completely, confidence is key.
Don't apologize for missing experience. Own what makes you different and unique.
Despite the seasonal boost, DeMace says it remains a competitive market.
Well, Carowinds is ready to roll into the new season as the theme park prepares to open next weekend. Carowinds has over 40 roller coasters that go through high maintenance to make sure riders are safe. Depending on track length, some roller coasters require checks every 6 hours. Mechanical maintenance manager Sean Hopkins says each ride is monitored by 3 computer systems.
Even in the computer system, there are redundancies to back up. Anytime one of those systems doesn't report an equal finding, we call that a discrepancy in the system, and the ride will come to a stop.
Carowinds is set to open next Saturday, March 14th. Meantime, Six Flags is selling 7 of its amusement parks across the country. The deal is worth more than $330 million. They are in Minnesota, Michigan, Missouri, Texas, New York, and Quebec. They will still keep the Six Flags brand under the new owner and operate normally through 2026. The sale does not impact Carowinds in Charlotte. Ed, I think it's time for us to ride some coasters. What you think?
Yeah, it's been years since I have been there, but when I did go, it was a lot of fun, and it's just right down the road. Hey, temperature is okay this morning. Take a look at our low temperatures. A few communities near the Virginia border dipping into the upper 40s, Mount Airy and Walnut Cove and Wilkesboro into the 40s for lows this morning. But generally, we saw morning lows into the 50s, 52 the low at PTI, 51 at Burlington, 55 over in Winston-Salem, and 57 at Asheboro. Not seeing any improvements over downtown Greensboro. We are seeing some in Burlington. The temperature at PTI right now is at 56.
I'm Lauren Coleman with a check of the day's top stories. Mark your calendar for Thursday, March 12th. That is the next major step in deciding a winner between Phil Berger and Sam Page. That's the deadline for military ballots to come in the mail. The margin is still razor thin in the race, with Page expanding his lead last Friday. Provisional ballots were counted in Rockingham and Guilford counties. Page now leads by 23 votes, up from just 2 votes on election night. And the final margin is still less than 1%. The trailing candidate can request a recount by March 17th. The recount must be finished before North Carolina State Board of Elections meet to certify the final results on March 25th. Today, Rockingham County Board of Elections will be conducting a hand-to-eye count on the U.S. Senate Democratic and Republican primary, according to their Facebook. The county is responsible for administrating fair, accurate, honest, and impartial elections. The count is set to begin at 9 a.m. this morning. All right, let's go ahead and get a check of the forecast with meteorologist Ed Matthews. A foggy start, but the sunshine, it's going to be coming soon.
Oh, yes, it is. It's going to get better and better as we go through the day. That sun is already working to erode that fog away. And I think by mid-morning, we'll start to see some sunshine. We'll warm it into the mid-70s today, low 80s for possibly a brand new record high tomorrow, and about 83 on Wednesday. Clouds build on Wednesday. A cold front will bring some rain on Thursday, and a cooler 63, around 60 and dry on Friday. But look at the weekend. Yeah, we're right back around 70 on Saturday and especially on Sunday.
Good Monday morning. It's feeling like spring out there already. Welcome to WFMY News 2 Mornings at 8. I'm Megan Malaris.
And I'm Lauren Coleman. Lots of sunshine today, but first we got to deal with all this fog. Let's go ahead and check in with meteorologist Ed Matthews. I mean, that screen almost looks grayed out.
Yeah, we'll get through it okay. We're already seeing some subtle hints that things are improving, but I think the improvements are going to be a slow process. The fog is quite dense and it's quite widespread, but the sun is already working to erode the fog away. But as we take a look at updated visibilities, we're still seeing a lot of our communities where the airport location recording visibilities near zero: Danville, Burlington, Reedsville, Green Greensboro, Winston-Salem, Asheboro, Siler City, Sanford, over to Statesville and Hickory. So this is widespread fog this morning. Haven't seen any improvements over Winston-Salem. Again, the improvements are going to be very slow. 46 right now at Mount Airy, 56 in Winston-Salem. We're at 57 in Greensboro and Lexington. We're at 53 over at Burlington. It's going to be a great day. Just be patient. Once the sun comes out, warming into the mid-70s, it'll be mainly clear overnight. We'll cool to the pleasant low 50s. Even warmer tomorrow and Wednesday. We'll check out the 7-day coming up.
All right, let's go ahead and get a live look at our roadways. Right now, we're going to start with this live picture out in Winston-Salem. This is I-40 at Silas Creek Parkway, where you can see that fog here in this area. Kind of gloomy out there, but you definitely want to reduce your speed this morning and use your low beam lights. As we take a look across the Triad, we're currently delay-free, but we are tracking a few accidents. I want to give you an update on this crash out on Sunset Square, North Main Street at Montaloo Avenue. We've been tracking this accident since the 6 o'clock hour. It's still not causing any major delays, but just something to keep your eyes peeled for. No longer tracking this accident out in Trinity on Archdale Road at Old Glenola Road. That is now clear, no major delays. And let's head on up to Reedsville. We have this light that has been out since around 6 a.m. This is at US 29 Business, northbound, southbound at US 158. Remember to treat all traffic lights that are out as four-way stops. That is a look at your Triad traffic.
Beginning today, a stretch of Voss Avenue in Greensboro is closed for several months. This is the stretch between Summit Avenue and Cody Avenue, not far from downtown, shut down through July 17th for a storm culvert replacement project. Local access will be allowed for people who live on Voss Avenue, but all other drivers will have to use another route around the work zone. If you're planning ahead, plan to do this for a while.
This week, the city also begins several road paving projects, which could slow you down in different parts of Greensboro. Crews will be lowering utility structures on multiple streets across the city from today through Friday. Work will happen between 7 a.m. and 6 p.m. It could mean lane closures or full road closures in some areas. Streets impacted include parts of Silverbrook Drive, Wood Hollow Road, Twain Road, East Cornwallis Drive, Palm Street, and North English Street. The city says these projects are a part of Greensboro's 2026 road resurfacing plan.
A lot of work starts in the Gate City today. Specifically, the demo officially begins on Davie Street parking deck. I was here just this past weekend. Here's a live look at that area right now. It's very foggy outside. We don't see construction crews out and about just yet. Their first order of business will be to close North Davie Street between East Friendly Avenue and East Market Street, while crews work to bring down the structure. So it's unclear if any detonation will happen today, but the city closed down the deck in November after 60 years in operation when city leaders decided it had ultimately outlived its usefulness. There is a brand new deck right next door. This work is set to be in effect through June 6th.
Going up in the parking deck's place is a brand new 7-story apartment complex with 171 units. DGI announced the plan at its annual State of Downtown address last week. The complex is set to house a new restaurant and retail options on its bottom floor. This is just one of the many projects local leaders are planning to bring downtown to expound on the attention new industry is bringing to Greensboro.
The interest in downtown is phenomenal. So what we've got to do is capitalize on that energy. The more we capitalize on that energy, the more we help small businesses and the more we help the projects that we have get across the finish line. And I will tell you, quite frankly, we've already started energizing Elm Street in certain ways.
Yeah, businesses booming downtown. Among other plans shared coming downtown include a new Marriott Inn Residence Hotel. Matheny also shared an investment group recently bought the old News and Record property, one of the biggest redevelopment opportunities in the area.
Yeah, that has sat empty for several months now. Well, this morning, the Rockingham County Board of Elections is doing a hand-to-eye count of ballots for U.S. Senate. To count that is procedural here in North Carolina. When it comes to the race for state Senate, it's still a razor-thin margin, but it is growing. On Friday, after provisional ballots were counted, Sam Page expanded his lead over incumbent Phil Berger in Guilford and Rockingham counties. Page now leads by 23 votes, up from just 2 on election night. Coming up in a few minutes, we'll break down what's next in deciding who represents the Republican Party come November.
As we wait for the race to be decided, there are claims online over voter intimidation. Voters say they were sent texts asking who they voted for. We reached out to the Rockingham County Board of Elections. They said that they were aware of these allegations and they are investigating. It is now 8:06. Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools continues to chip away at its budget deficit. We learned the district's debt is now down to $5 million. That's more than $40 million down from the original number. To make progress on paying off debt, the district had widespread layoffs. Right now, we are working to find out the plan to pay off the remaining $5 million.
You might remember we told you about the district's plan to form a new audit advisory committee. The purpose being to support the school board in addressing budget audits and adding more transparency. District and county leaders are in the process of assembling that committee now. It'll be made up of 7 community members with an extensive background in finances. To be part of this committee, individuals could not have been employed or have business dealings with Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools. Obviously, so there's no conflict of interest. Right now, there are 3 more slots to fill. The commissioners are deciding who people will be to fill those slots. The district's communication officer is explaining the skill sets already in place.
We have a former Winston-Salem city manager. We have a chief auditor for the UNC system. We have a gentleman who was a VP at Morgan Stanley and worked for Goldman Sachs. We also have a person who was a CPA for Deloitte and also served the Wake County School Board in a committee capacity. And so you have people who deeply understand the world of finance.
Yeah, those are some really impressive credentials she just listed. Some of the responsibilities of this advisory committee will be to review the district's annual audit and its recommendations, help find external audit firms, and recommend corrective actions. Already this school year, we've reported on several audits the district received. The goal is to utilize the audit committee to keep it on track.
The district has already had multiple different kinds of audits in the last year. 2 different sort of reviews done by the state, another separate one done by the State Board of Education, led by DPI, as well as our internal audit. And we already have a plan in place where we are tracking and accomplishing corrections to those findings. So this is all about making sure that our community is confident that we're on the right track.
Yeah, so it sounds like there is some action actually being taken. Once formed, the district said the Audit Advisory Committee will meet 4 times a year, and the district is looking forward to announcing the full team in April.
In other news, the district is joining thousands across the area that are suing social media companies like Snapchat and TikTok. School leaders say the platforms are deliberately addictive, harmful, and are causing a mental health crisis. The school district wants money to hire more counselors, implement safety measures, and address behavior issues. If the suit is successful, settlements could be in the billions.
Right now, we're awaiting a major sports announcement from a group of local partners about summer plans coming to light tomorrow. The Greensboro Sports Foundation, Greensboro Area Convention and Visitors Bureau, the city, and UNCG will host a special event, the 10th, to share details of this International Sports Development, as it's being called. The announcement will happen at Fleming Gymnasium on UNCG campus at 11 tomorrow. We will
North Carolina A&T will celebrate the 135th anniversary of its founding today, while also formally installing its newest chancellor. James R. Martin II was selected in 2024 as the university's 13th chancellor amid what will be officially installed during a ceremony at Corbett Sports Center at 10 a.m. Since taking office, Martin has focused on expanding partnerships with agencies, corporations, strengthening university operations, and advancing the school's push towards top-tier research. University status. General parking will be available at the Obermeyer parking deck and War Memorial Stadium, with shuttle service beginning at 9 a.m.
A historic North Carolina race could come down to a recount. Just 2 votes separated the candidates, and if the results shift, it could change the state Senate leadership entirely. What happens next? All right, in fewer than 30 minutes, the Rockingham County Board of Elections will conduct a hand-to-eye count of ballots for the U.S. Senate race. This is a procedural count happening all across the state in 2 precincts per 100 counties. Here's how it works. This process done after a race meant to double-check that the machines counted ballots correctly. To do this under state law, a bipartisan team of counters will physically conduct a sample count by hand. Each counting team is made up of 4 people, 2 who read the ballot and confirm aloud, and 2 who keep tally marks on a sheet of paper. This vote is conducted in public for transparency. Well, one of today's counts will be at the Rockingham County Board of Elections in Reedsville at 9 this morning. We plan to take you to that live on our air when it starts. Let's talk about now the razor-thin race we are all watching closely between North Carolina Senate candidates Phil Berger and Sam Page. There is still some work to be done before a winner in that Republican primary gets decided. 2 Wants to Know's Tanya Rivera lays out what's next.
2 Wants to Know what happens now. You know, there's a whole lot of talk of recounts and legal challenges and whatnot, but one thing is for sure, the race is historic.
I can't think of anything in North Carolina's history that comes close to this in terms of both things you're talking about. One is the closeness of the election itself, but then the significance, because in the eyes of many, Phil Berger is the most powerful man in the state of North Carolina.
Millions of dollars were spent on the Berger campaign. About $10,000 was spent on the Page campaign. On election night, just 2 votes separated them. If Berger were to lose,
It would mean an entirely new leadership team in the North Carolina Senate if Berger loses.
here are the rules in North Carolina. A candidate can demand a recount of the votes. For races that are not statewide, like this Berger-Page race, the threshold is 1% of the total votes cast. The demand, again, by the candidate, must be made in writing and received by the County Board of Elections by 5 p.m. on the first business day after the canvass, which is the regular auditing period.
It will not be over until it is certified and all legal options have been utilized. Because let's say that they call it and they certify it, it can still be challenged if it's in that 1% for the recount. And so we're likely to see that.
While this race is getting all the attention and for very good reason, after every election, the County Board of Elections completes what's called the canvass. And that's when they verify or audit all the ballots and tabulations. And on this calendar, that's Friday, March the 13th.
Good morning, Piedmont Triad. 15 minutes after 8. With each passing hour, we see a little bit more of downtown Burlington, but as I've been talking about all morning long, the clearing process for the dense fog is going to be slow. It's rather thick, rather dense, and it's widespread across the area. But the sun is up and shining above the fog, and it's working to break this fog up. At least temperatures are okay this morning out at the Burlington Airport. Current temperature is at 53. We're starting out pretty mild this morning. Once the sun pops out, probably midday and on through the afternoon, more of a mix of sun and clouds, at least mid-70s. And if the sun were to come out an hour or 2 earlier, yeah, there could be some upper 70s around the Piedmont. Only a cold front by name, but it brought some showers and scattered storms yesterday to our area. It has moved to the Carolina coast and will pretty much wash out and dissipate. High pressure will build over northern Florida in a position to grab some warmer air out over the southern plains and the deep south and bring it our way. After being in the mid and possibly upper 70s today, how about some low 80s coming our way tomorrow and up around 83, 84 coming up on Wednesday. Not setting a record on Wednesday, but we do have an opportunity to do that coming up tomorrow. Our standing record 78, and we're forecasting 81 for tomorrow. Now by Thursday, cold front moves in, brings rain to the area. I think clouds will start to build on Wednesday afternoon, but it's looking more and more like Wednesday and Wednesday night is going to be dry. The rain will move in probably sometime on Thursday morning. We may squeak by the morning commute on Thursday dry, but we'll get it wet as we go through the day. And our European model is suggesting maybe around 1/2 inch of rain. We'll tweak these numbers as we go through the week. So after the fog, a great day for the Piedmont, partly sunny and about 76 today. It'll be mainly clear, pleasantly cool tonight as we drop into the lower 50s. Tomorrow, a partly sunny day, standing record 78. We're forecasting 81. I think we can set a new record tomorrow. Our record for Wednesday is 86. I think it's going to be safe in the books. Clouds on the increase Wednesday afternoon will bring in rain on Thursday and 63, and only around 60, a little cooler by Friday.
Welcome back. It's 8:20 right now on this Monday. North Carolina is investing more money to help Western North Carolina recover from Hurricane Helene and prepare for future disasters. Governor Stein announced $40 million will go to disaster relief. Here's the breakdown: $24 million to flood mitigation, infrastructure upgrades, and emergency communication projects across the state. Another $16 million to volunteer organizations helping rebuild homes in Western North Carolina. Prescribed burns are underway in Western North Carolina to reduce wildlife risk after Hurricane Helene. Crews are using torches to set fire to the woods, hoping it'll burn off much of the debris washed up from the storm.
And it's been a year and a half now, and a lot of that material is starting to decompose and starting to dry out. So you're seeing it more available to burn.
Well, I think it's pretty important because we've been in some spots where there's more dead trees that they need to have something done to them, and you can't get into them.
Yeah, earlier this year, the North Carolina Park Service burned along the Lake James State Park, where hundreds of trees came down during the storm. The park superintendent said it's taking a lot of work to get the park back to its former glory.
Our normal low this time of year is 38. We weren't even close this morning. A pretty mild morning here in the Piedmont. Temperatures dipping down into the 50s. Take a look at these nice numbers. Starting out pretty nice. If we didn't have the fog, it would be almost a perfect morning. Temperature for the low, 51 in Danville, 52 in the Triad, 60 the low in Charlotte. Now down to 39 at Boone and 50 over at Asheville, 57 at Raleigh and Fayetteville for the morning low. Haven't seen any improvements over downtown Greensboro. Still socked in with the dense fog. Going to be a slow process to get this fog out of here by mid-morning around 9 or 10 o'clock. 57 the current temperature at PTI, on our way to the mid and maybe some upper 70s later today.
Get Triad traffic here. There was an earlier issue in Reedsville on US 29 Business that has cleared, so no longer an issue. Also, our Archdale wreck that we reported earlier is clear, but there is still a problem on Sunset Drive in High Point, specifically at North Main Street and Montleau Avenue. Traffic backing up, heading to this, and then it clears, so we'll keep an eye on that. As I mentioned, no other issues to report right now, but fog is a major concern. Drive times Winston-Salem to Greensboro looking decent nonetheless. 27 minutes down 421, a 24-minute ride down I-40. Kernersville to Winston looking at an 11-minute ride down 40 to 311, or 8 minutes down 421. Pack your patience this morning. I was talking to my kids this morning. They were behind a garbage truck that was having some difficulty picking up the cans because the fog was likely impeding the visibility on the camera on those trucks. So just be patient and keep in mind all of us are dealing with this morning. All right, welcome back to WFMY News 2 Mornings. I'm Megan Malaris. Let's take a look at some local headlines. North Carolina A&T State University is reaching a major milestone today. The school will celebrate its 135th anniversary while officially installing Dr. James R. Martin II as its 13th chancellor. A joint ceremony is happening at Corbett Sports Center. It begins at 10 with parking available at the Obermeyer parking deck and War Memorial Stadium with shuttle service to the auditorium. Also today, leaders across Greensboro are set to make a big international sports announcement. The Greensboro Sports Foundation, the Greensboro Area Convention and Visitors Bureau, the City of Greensboro, and UNCG will hold a news conference to share details about this major event connected to Summer 2026. The announcement is set for 11 at UNCG's Fleming Stadium tomorrow. City leaders, tourism officials, Chancellor Franklin Gilliam all set to speak. We'll keep you updated. All right, let's take a look at our forecast. Ed, a decent day once this fog burns off.
Yeah, slow process. We're seeing some minor improvements, but it may be mid to even late morning before the fog situation gets better. That's just how thick it is. But once it does, it's going to be a great day. Mixed sun and clouds and 76, sun and clouds and 81 tomorrow, and even warmer on Wednesday. Clouds build late Wednesday and will bring in a rain chance on Thursday and 63. Cool it back a little more on Friday around 60, but we're back near 70 on Saturday and especially on Sunday. Right now, next weekend is looking good for outdoor plans.
Welcome back to WFMY News 2 mornings at 8. It's now 8:30 on this Monday, the 9th. I'm Megan Malaris. Let's get right to our forecast. Fog has been a problem in our weather and traffic this morning. Ed, our visibility is improving?
It's a slow process, and it's looking more and more like it could be late morning. I mean, even 10 or 11 o'clock. It's just such dense fog across the area, and it's widespread. It's going to take a while, and there's still a lot of zeros on the visibility map this morning. You can see many of our communities at the airport location where visibilities are around zero in very dense fog that is widespread. And although we're seeing a little bit more of downtown Burlington, again, the clearing out of this fog is going to be very, very slow. But once it moves out, we're going to see really a great day, but probably not sunshine until later this afternoon. At least temperatures are okay, considering that our normal low is 38. We're at 53 in Burlington, 45 at Mount Airy, 56 at Winston-Salem, a pair of 57s at Greensboro and Lexington, and 53, of course, over at Burlington. So a partly sunny and warm afternoon. Temperatures should make it into the mid and upper 70s once the sun comes out. 80-degree weather tomorrow. It's in the forecast. We'll talk about it coming up.
Let's take a look at Triad traffic here at 8:31. I'm going to move over to the traffic center so I can take a look at any updated alerts that have come in the last few minutes. This is obviously updated in real time for North Carolina DOT. So I want to click on this situation in Greensboro here that's being reported. There's a wreck in Trinity on Braxton Craven Road at Highway 62. And then if you're heading down towards Charlotte today, there is a wreck in Huntersville backing up traffic on 77 southbound right before exit 23. Other than that, we are still dealing with an issue in Rockingham County. There was a wreck involving a bus on Highway 87 northbound between Panel Road and Ashley Loop Drive. This is the first we're hearing of this. We'll be making some calls and certainly hope everybody is okay. It does not specify if this is a city bus or a school bus. Again, we'll be making some calls. Rockingham County Highway 87 southbound at Panel Road. Let's take a look at some highway drive times as I advance the maps here. They've been looking good, all things considered. Just budget, I would say 10 to 15 extra minutes. Fog is still a concern, and you don't want to get into a wreck because of fog. 10 minutes down I-40 to 311, 8 minutes down Highway 421. Burlington to Greensboro now 8 minutes down 40 west to the 85 split, 18 minutes down 85 to I-73. That's a look at Triad traffic this morning. Developing overnight, Iran has named a new supreme leader, the deceased Ayatollah's son. However, President Trump said no one is assuming taking over officially until he has the final say. This is now the third leader of the Islamic Republic since the 1979 revolution. Analysts say while he kept a low profile for years behind the scenes, he was a central figure in his father's rule. Gas prices are up again today since the start of the strikes on Iran. And this morning, we're hearing from the president on the spike, which he says is short term, while almost everyone is feeling pain at the pump. One state in particular is being hit hard. Jared Hill has more from New York.
At gas stations coast to coast, Americans are feeling new pain at the pump.
Everybody got bills and stuff. Now the gas is going way back up again.
Skyrocketing oil and gas prices as the U.S.-Israeli conflict with Iran is strangling the flow of tankers through the Strait of Hormuz, that critical waterway through which about a fifth of the world's oil flows. Oil topped $100 a barrel overnight for the first time in 4 years. The national average for a gallon of regular is now about $3.45, up nearly 50 cents over the past week. But in California, AAA reports more than $5 a gallon.
I'm paying $40, but that doesn't get me a full tank anymore.
Petroleum industry analysts on why California has it particularly tough.
A unique market that is essentially cut off from the rest of the country.
The state has the highest gas tax in the nation, requires a cleaner, more expensive fuel blend, and 2 major refineries were shut down due to high operating costs. Sunday evening, President Trump downplayed the spike in oil and gas costs, calling it a very small price to pay on social media. Energy Secretary Chris Wright on Face the Nation.
They shouldn't go much higher than they are here because the world is very well supplied with oil.
Meanwhile, some are already changing their habits.
Part of the reason why I have my bike here is because it's cheaper.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is urging the White House to tap into the nation's strategic oil reserve. The White House said only if it's needed. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Friday, President Trump issued a plan to insure losses up to approximately $20 billion in the Gulf region in an attempt to restore confidence in shipping markets and stabilize global commerce during what's going on in the Middle East. Taking a look at gas prices this morning, we got the new report out from Gas Buddy a couple of hours ago. The current average in Greensboro is $3.29 today. That's an increase of 49 cents from last week. Winston-Salem, slightly more expensive, averaging $3.31. Durham is at $3.35, but North Carolina overall is at $3.26. Let's look at some other headlines nationally. A frustrating weekend for many travelers as the partial government shutdown caused long security lines at a number of airports, including in Houston and New Orleans. A limited TSA staff, coupled with spring break travel already, is creating some problems for travelers, extending for hours. The Department of Homeland Security, which oversees TSA operations at airports, has gone without funding since February 14th. A National Transportation Safety Board member said he got abruptly fired last week. J. Todd Inman was a prominent figure during the investigation of last year's deadly midair collision near Washington, D.C. at Reagan. That crash involved a regional American Airlines jet and a Black Hawk helicopter. 67 people died. Inman said he was told last Friday he was fired, effective immediately. He said he has not received any reason for his dismissal. It is unusual for NTSB members to be removed. They served fixed terms. Inman joined the investigative board in 2024 after then President Joe Biden nominated him. The FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force has launched an investigation into a device thrown near the residence of New York City's mayor over the weekend. Amid protests, the homemade device got determined by the FBI to be an improvised explosive device that could have caused serious injury or death. 2 people from Pennsylvania got arrested Saturday in connection with this. A woman was arrested Sunday in California for shooting at Rihanna's Beverly Hills home. This happened in broad daylight around 1:15 yesterday. Police say the woman in her 30s parked her car outside of the singer's home and fired 7 shots before speeding away. Police found her shortly afterward at a nearby shopping center and took her into custody without further incident. It's unclear if anyone was home. Back here in North Carolina this morning, 2 people are recovering after a plane crash in Indian Trail. Union County deputies say the pilot had to be cut out of the plane by first responders. WFMY News 2's Anna King has more.
For Doug and Kathleen Rowell, Sunday was supposed to be a quiet day at home.
Wasn't on our bingo card today.
It was quite interesting.
Instead, it turned into something they never could have imagined.
And we got a call from the young lady that lives in this house and said that a plane was in our pasture.
That plane, a small aircraft that had just taken off from Goose Creek Airport, crashing into their pasture across the street.
All we heard was a boom when it hit.
Authorities say 2 people were on board. 1 person was ejected from the aircraft and airlifted to the hospital. The pilot was trapped inside the wreckage until first responders cut them free and rushed them to the hospital by ambulance. The Rowells say when they saw the plane, the damage was hard to believe.
We were just shocked.
Took off a wing and 1 wing still intact.
The FAA is now investigating what caused the plane to go down. And while the scene left them stunned, the Rowells say they're grateful the crash wasn't worse.
No, we were just happy that everybody was safe, that all the cows were safe, and that they were able to get them to the hospital alive, and hopefully they're faring well.
Former President Barack Obama has announced the grand opening of the Obama Presidential Center in Chicago this summer. The former president shared the news on social media Saturday, saying the center will open with 4 days of celebrations beginning June 18th. The campus and museum open to the public on June 19th. The nearly 20-acre campus on Chicago's South Side will feature a museum, public programming space, parking areas, a playground, art installations, and a branch of the Chicago Public Library. Most of the center will be free to visit, while timed museum tickets will be available starting in May. Thousands of people gathered in Selma this weekend to mark the anniversary of what is now known as Bloody Sunday. 61 years ago, state troopers attacked civil rights marchers on the Edmund Pettus Bridge during a voting rights demonstration. The violence shocked the nation and helped lead to the passage of the landmark Voting Rights Act of 1965. Commemorations in Selma ran throughout the weekend and ended Sunday with a march across the bridge honoring those who fought for voting rights. This comes the same day the city of Greensboro honored the legacy of Reverend Jesse Jackson front and center. At the International Civil Rights Center and Museum in downtown Greensboro, those who knew him best shared memories. WFMY News 2's Christina Dillon looks at Jackson's impact here in the Triad.
People came right here to the International Civil Rights Museum to celebrate the life of the late Reverend Jesse Jackson. They packed the auditorium where clips were shown of Jackson's legacy and famous speeches he made. We heard from local political leaders as well as civil rights activists, all sharing in Jesse Jackson's legacy.
Keep hope alive.
For many people in the Triad, the news of Reverend Jesse Jackson's death hit hard.
I cried. It saddened my heart, because I knew what he meant and all the works that he done.
For Greensboro, Jackson was never just a national figure. He was a student at North Carolina A&T, an organizer, an activist, and in 1963, as protesters filled downtown Greensboro demanding equality, Jackson stepped into the movement, standing up to police trying to end the march.
Captain Jackson, you got 2 minutes to get out of here. Say, well, okay, Jesse, pray.
Those marches helped push downtown businesses toward integration and helped launch Jackson from Greensboro to the national stage, working with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., founding the Rainbow Coalition, and running for president. But even as his voice grew nationally, speakers say he never left Greensboro behind. Inside the International Civil Rights Center and Museum, a packed auditorium gathered to remember how he lifted people up, including women at Bennett College.
Reverend Jackson believed in women as assets, not as a threat.
And even after becoming one of the most recognized civil rights leaders in the country, Jackson kept returning to the Triad.
We are a part of his roots. He has returned many times to speak, to organize, to engage, to celebrate his Aggie pride, and to remind us that the struggle for justice does not belong to one generation alone. It belongs to all of us.
A city showing up for a man who spent his life showing up for them, and whose impact, many say, changed what was possible.
Before there could be a generation of black mayors, black governors, black members of Congress, and even a black president, there had to be someone bold enough to show the world that black leadership belonged on the national stage. Brother Jesse Jackson was that someone.
People told us the most important thing to do right now is to keep having events like this, celebrating his life and sharing his legacy. In Greensboro, Christina Dillon, WFMY News 2.
Good morning, Piedmont Triad. The time is 8:45. Still dealing with a lot of fog this morning. It should be out by around, I'm thinking now, around 10 or 11 o'clock. Boy, this is just stubborn fog, and it's going to take a while for it to dissipate. But once it does, temperatures are going to warm up nicely. Mid, maybe even some upper 70s. Look how nice and warm it is over much of the eastern half of the United States. By tomorrow, low 80s, maybe a new record high at PTI. And on Wednesday, we'll be up around 83, 84. This cold front, and I mean, I'm using the term loosely because it's not really cold behind it. This cold front did bring some rain and storms yesterday. It is dissipating along the Carolina coast as high pressure builds to the south over northern Florida in a prime location to grab some warmth out out to our southwest and bring it our way. So mid and upper 70s today, around 81, 82 tomorrow, maybe an 83 or 84 coming up on Wednesday. I think our record of 86 is safe on Wednesday, but tomorrow the record is 78. And I think we might just remove that from the record books and set a brand new record high tomorrow. Now, it looks as though we're going to get wet on Thursday. I think Wednesday will be dry. We'll start to build some clouds in the afternoon. Wednesday night should be dry, and we could get lucky and have a dry morning commute on Thursday. The models are kind of slowing down the onset of rain, and it's looking more like midday and on through the late afternoon and into the evening as yet another cold front moves through our area, brings a pretty good shot of rain. And our European model is suggesting that maybe around 1/2 inch of rain. We just got nearly 1/2 inch yesterday, and we could get more coming up on Thursday. We'll continue to tweak those numbers through the week. Partly sunny this afternoon and 76. Overnight it'll be mainly clear, lower 50s by early tomorrow morning. Partly sunny and 81 coming up tomorrow. In our Triad 7-day forecast, building clouds on Wednesday and 83 will bring in the rain, and 63 on Thursday, a little cooler around 60 on Friday.
Hey everybody, here at ShopTVDeals.com, we love to bring you products that we love and use ourselves. And let's be honest, everybody wants to be a good host, whether it's poker night or game day or the family Sunday dinner, whatever it may be. Drinks are an important part of the celebration, and cold drinks, even more important. Check out these two ice makers by Frigidaire. What I love about this one over here is that it's sleek, it's compact, fits right there on your counter. You fill it up with a little bit of water, and within minutes, boom, you have ice. In fact, you can get up to 26 pounds of ice in 24 hours. That's enough for whatever party you may have, and it cleans really easily. Put it over the sink, pull a tab, drains right out. Can't beat that. And if you're fancier with your ice, I'll direct your attention over here because this essentially works the same way. Sleek, cleans easy, but it makes restaurant grade, soft, kind of chewable nugget ice here up to 33 pounds in a day. That's the size of a 3 or 4-year-old kid. So think about that. No matter what you're hosting, these two devices could be your friends. You have the end result right here. Keeps it simple, keeps it fast, keeps it efficient. This makes life a whole lot easier. And we're so happy to offer you two great deals on both of these devices today. 39% off over here and 28% off over here. So what are you waiting for? Go buy now. Be ready for that next party. Scan that QR code at the bottom of your screen or go to ShopTVDeals.com.
Welcome back. I'm Megan Maleros. It is 8:51 here on your Monday. Let's take a look at Carowinds. It is planning to reopen next week. The theme park is set for another great season. Carowinds has more than 40 roller coasters that go through high maintenance to make sure riders are safe. Depending on the track lengths, some roller coasters require checks every 6 hours. Mechanical maintenance manager Sean Hopkins explained each ride gets monitored by 3 computer systems.
Even in the computer system, there are redundancies to back up. Anytime one of those systems doesn't report an equal finding, we call that a discrepancy in the system, and the ride will come to a stop.
I'm glad to hear there are several backups in place. Carowinds is set to open on Saturday, March 14th. Looks like the weather will cooperate. In the meantime, Six Flags is selling 7 of its amusement parks across the country, including the one I grew up going to in St. Louis. The deal is worth more than $330 million. These parks are in Missouri, Minnesota, Michigan, Texas, New York, and Quebec. They'll still keep the Six Flags brand under new ownership and operate normally through the 2026 year. The sale does not affect Carowinds in Charlotte.
All righty, you know our normal low is 38. We're a million miles away from that this morning, seeing low temperatures for the most part dropping into the low and mid 50s. Some areas right near the Virginia border dipping into the mid and upper 40s, like Mount Airy and Walnut Cove and over to Wilkesboro, down to 52 out at PTI and 55 in Winston-Salem, the low at 58 in High Point and 51 over at Burlington. Starting to faintly see a little bit of downtown Greensboro. I'm optimistic that things are slowly getting better, but again, it's going to be a very slow process. Out at PTI, the temperature is at 57. Once the sun comes out, 76. It'll be clear with low 50s again tonight.
Let's take a look at Triad traffic. We're still dealing with this incident. DOT is reporting there was a bus wreck in Rockingham County on Highway 87, right between Panel Road and Ashley Loop and Riverside Circle. Again, right off of Highway 87. We are not getting any information at this point from emergency responders. We are hoping everybody is okay. It's unclear if this is some kind of a public transport bus or a school bus this morning. Again, still working on getting those details for you, and we'll keep you updated as the morning progresses in our 9 o'clock hour. An earlier incident in High Point on Sunset Square at Main Street finally has cleared, so that is some good news. And that is also the case in Archdale, where we were dealing with this wreck in Trinity at Old Glenola Road. Just keep in mind, fog is still a factor for a little bit longer. Budget a little bit of extra time on your morning ride. Good Monday morning. I'm Megan Maleros. Let's take a look at some stories making headlines here on WFMY News 2. Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools is joining thousands of districts nationwide in suing social media companies, including Snapchat, TikTok, and Facebook. School leaders allege the platforms are deliberately addictive and contributing to a mental health crisis in youth. Districts are seeking funding to hire more counselors, add safety measures, and address behavioral issues. If successful, settlements could reach the billions. That school district continues to chip away at its budget deficit, and we've learned the debt is now down to $5 million. That's more than $40 million down from the original number. To make the progress on paying off the debt the district has widespread layoffs, we are working to find out the plan to pay off the remaining $5 million. Students from several Triad colleges will gather tonight for a unity dinner focused on strengthening community ties. Students from Bennett College, Elon, Guilford College, North Carolina A&T, and UNCG will share a meal and discuss rebuilding the historic bond between Jewish and Black communities. The dinner is 6 to 8:30 at the Nanoscience and Engineering Building on North Carolina A&T's campus. Let's check our forecast. Fog has been the big theme this morning. What's happening now, Ed?
Well, it's gradually improving, but I tell you what, it is very gradual. I don't expect the fog to be out. I'm hoping it'll be out before lunchtime and we'll see some afternoon sunshine. And once we do, temperatures will move up mid-70s today, low 80s tomorrow, and around 83, 84 tomorrow. Rain chance Thursday.